When you change your attitude towards another, he must change his attitude towards you. Are we not told we love him because he first loved us? It always starts with self. If you want him to be different, you must initiate the change. Everyone is you pushed out, a term coined by Neville Goddard. The message here is everything exists within you. So therefore, the things you're experiencing is yourself pushed out. And it's not your job to manipulate your carnal world with your physical strength. Now, if there's something you're experiencing with another that is unpleasant, there's no one else to change but you. So I'm going to give you the logical explanation, but not only that, my explanation will also come from experience because I've experienced it many times. First, let me give you an example. So you have a boss who seems to be against you and you feel as though you aren't valued by your boss or your company. What we do is we look at our surroundings and blame everybody else around us for the things we're experiencing. So-and-so could have been rude to you that day. The boss just doesn't like you. Melissa's jealous of you. Samuel can't, it's so easy for us to pinpoint why we are being treated this way. It's so easy to blame our external world for the things that are happening. But the thing is, your boss, your co-workers, is you being pushed out, meaning you are breathing life into your experiences. All your beliefs about work, your colleagues, your pay, all of it is coming from within and is confronting you in your 3D world. It's not the other way around. And a second example is you're in a relationship with someone, then all of a sudden things just seem to go wrong. Everything's scattered. All of a sudden things change, or they may have clocked out of the relationship. They no longer act the same way towards you, or it could be that they're no longer interested. And it's so easy to forget this law when you're in the situation. It's so easy to just look at them and be disappointed in them and seek for that love and that validation within them again. But this law tells you to reflect back on yourself. Now, what you need to understand is there is no separation between you, an event, or a person. So everything you are experiencing, it all goes back to your moods, your emotions, and what kind of state you're in. So if you were in any of these situations, things could be changed, but you'd have to ask yourself some questions. It takes self-reflection. For instance, if it's about the relationship, you'd ask yourself, what is my belief when it comes to relationships? Because only you truly know your beliefs, and you'd have to address them. Because if you don't, they will continue to confront you in the world. And what you'll find is there'll be so many events that affirm what you're saying within yourself. And what it becomes is like a cycle. Your beliefs project, they then create. You look at what you've created and you say, you see, I'm right. And so it's confirmed within you. And then it goes again and again and again. Some of you, truly, you believe men are trash. And for others here, they believe that women only love men with money. Or is it that you believe you're too old to find love, you're not attractive enough? Or some have this little inkling of, oh, well, they were going to leave me anyway because everybody always leaves, the last one. So many clients I've spoken to in the past had this sort of underlying fear that this person that they were with was going to leave them anyway. And then, surprise, when the prophecies actually played out in their 3D world, they swear they were psychic, but no. It was just their beliefs confronting them. Because there really is no separation between you, an event, or a person. And it all goes back to your moods, emotions, and the overall state you're in. And as painful as the situation might feel right now, I want you to be happy. I want you to rejoice, because if you can identify what created this event, you can totally change the situation around. So how to change the situation? So these are the checkpoints that I would go through when I'm trying to change something in my world. Every change comes from within. So the first thing you need to do is to check your self-talk. What are you saying to yourself? What do you believe about yourself? What are the things you believe about love? So, for instance, if you believe that this person is hard headed, they're just cruel, they just don't like you, it's just to turn that assumption around. For instance, I could say, okay, my specific person or my boss is very, very hard headed. They are set in their ways and they just don't like me. Your job is to discard that and to make a new assumption for them because they're just playing out the role that you've given to them. The next one is to ignore your current reality. Let's just try and say you're trying to change how your boss acts towards you. You're actively doing the spiritual work at home. You come into work the next day and there is something that takes place that affirms the old belief. Discard it. That's your job. I think with everything else, let's say if we're manifesting money, for instance, you know not to open your bank account and look at it straight on whilst you're manifesting a change. Let's say you're trying to manifest more money, you know you wouldn't do that. But for some reason, especially when it comes to other human beings, we decide to just look at them straight on. And if there's no change straight away, you just affirm that, nope, it's just them. It's just them all along. It's your job to ignore your current 3D world because your old assumptions and belief have created it. Ignore what is currently happening in front of you. The next tip that I want to give you is to guard your heart. In the Bible, it actually says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And it's Proverbs 4 verses 23. What are you doing? For instance, are you watching things like The World's Biggest Cheaters? What kind of dialogue are you partaking in with your friends about men, about women, about relationships? When you're creating, it's so easy to just say, I want to make a new assumption. But when your world keeps on affirming your old thoughts, it is unnecessarily hard. Ask yourself, why are you watching things that affirm the old belief? When it comes to guard your heart, a main point is entertainment for me. Entertainment. What are you entertaining? What are you watching on TV? What kind of music are you listening to? If it's the boss or a friend, are you watching TV shows where friends break up or, a friend is vindictive and does something behind somebody's back? Or you're watching a program where so-and-so's boss is bullying them and you can relate to them and you're like, oh my God, this is my story. Ask yourself what you're watching. This is something that I delve into in the program, the specific person program, because what you're watching, your entertainment, you probably think, it's just entertainment. But how you're creating. This is literally one of the biggest aids of creating anything. What you're watching is helping you create your life. My advice to you is to be very wary about what you're watching. You need to be selective with what you choose to entertain you. The overall notion here is when you're pointing the finger at somebody else, you need to ask yourself, what imaginal act is confronting me here? What assumption of mine is being played out in front of me? It's so easy to forget when you may have put this behavior into motion. You might say, no, not I. I've never thought of Brenda badly in my life. How dare you, Ray? But I'm saying you may have just forgotten. So for instance, do you remember all those fantastic nonsensical arguments you were having with yourself, with imaginary people in the shower? Or how about the time before you went to bed and you made sure to set that imaginary person straight and you told them all the things you wouldn't dare tell somebody in real life? Or how about the time when maybe you're watching reality TV and you got so heated you're ready to fight any living thing available? You see, all these events you've rehearsed and conjured up in your mind's eye, once again, all that's happening here is that they're confronting you. Now, just because you didn't consciously assign your friend to that role when you were conjuring up these scenes, so for instance, you weren't necessarily thinking of Brenda in particular, but the role wasn't, it's like you create an open role and anyone can play this. So this could be somebody that's already inside your life, or somebody new that will come and play this fantastic role that you've made in the shower, that you've made before you went to sleep. And all that's happening here is that they've fallen into a state that you have created. So luckily for you, you can take them back out of it. Your assumptions about money, your boss, men, women, love, They will all confront you in your world, and you'll look at your world and your point, you'll say, look, see, I'm right. Of course you're right. You're creating. I feel as though in some situations, it's just best to address the situation for what it is and leave. For instance, if you're in a relationship and things start to get dangerous, and you know what I mean. Instead of just saying, I'm going to try my best to change them, and, my advice is to leave. This is my thing. Don't you ever use spirituality as a crutch to be mistreated. For instance, if your house was on fire, the best thing for you to do in that situation is try and get out of the house, run out, call the fire brigade, whatever you can do. You don't sit in that house and close your eyes and meditate the fire being put out. No, you get out. That's the smart thing to do. Don't use spirituality to be mistreated. And I also want to know in the comments down below if you've applied this law and you've got results. And let me know what happened in that situation. What I will leave you with is, it's never about them. It's never about the subject. It's always about you. Guys, I'm Ray Jordan. I love you all. I will speak to you soon, and goodbye.